but you're lying on the couch and on the phone scrolling mindlessly.
Yeah.
Don't say I'm okay and you come home and you can't even smile at the children. You're not connecting with it. When there is a change of behavior for you as a man and your social battery cannot extend beyond the job, then it's time for you to do some self-care.
Okay.
You see? Now, women, we want to pay attention to this. Now, women will tell me, but naulizanga na anasema hakuna kitu mbaya. So that's why we are saying that we need men to take away these myths. That to be, that you have to be strong. You can't say that you are hurting.
Yeah.
And this is why emotional intelligence comes in, that the skill of self-awareness, being able to name what you are experiencing. I usually tell men, if you can't identify the feeling, identify the thought.
Okay.
What are you thinking? I'm thinking that I am so angry with my colleague for XYZ. What are you thinking? I'm thinking that I am trying to problem solve how we are going to meet the budget this month. You see, business is not well. And you, if you allow your wife or your girlfriend, your partner to hear what is going on, then you open a space where there can be alignment with problem solving. Yeah.
Okay.
And the other thing that I want to say to men, we do know that men don't thrive when they are being compared with others.
Yeah.
So women who keep saying, oh, my father used to, so-and-so did.
My brother.
Please, women, if you are looking for emotional connection with your man, don't judge him, don't criticize him, and don't compare him with somebody else.
Okay. And also, the other reason as to why as men, we keep quiet is that whatever we say might also be used against us.
And that is one of the biggest, by the way. Because, and this is why I keep talking about emotional intelligence. That you need to understand, when somebody like this group I had on Monday, we talked about vulnerability. Men are so afraid of being vulnerable for that very reason you have said. Humiliation, it being used against them, and also it, being dismissed and invalidated.
Exactly.
You see, now men who were raised in households where their emotions were not affirmed and validated, they don't know how to be vulnerable. In fact, when there is a problem in their marriage and their wife brings up that issue, they immediately go into defense mode. Because what they hear is invalidation, criticism, and judgment. Now, you as a wife may not be doing that. That is not your intention. You are just bringing up an issue. You see? But if your man was raised by critical parents, or where there was expectation that he should not make a mistake, then what is happening is that his nervous system doesn't know how to take correction. So when anytime there is a statement about something they didn't do, there will always be an explanation of why it is not a problem.
Okay.
You see, so and this is what we call defensiveness, and I used to be that because I'm a melancholic. And so because I'm a melancholic, I'm afraid of punishment. I'm afraid of rejection, and I'm also afraid of failure because of perfectionism. Now, a lot of men, I want to affirm you because you work so hard. When you make a mistake as a man, it is very hard for you to metabolize the mistake. So what you do, you develop what we call a sense of shame. And a sense of shame triggers also the fear of failure. You see, so there is a lot of anxiety about whether you will make it, whether your children will make it, what legacy you will leave for your children. You have a lot of burden that you are not sharing with your life partner. The men who are more open to share with their life partner, they carry the burden together, and there is walking together, and so I want to really encourage men during this month, let us find ways of increasing our emotional intelligence in terms of expressing what we need.
Okay.
And if you don't know what you need, explore, because there is a lot of info. These days, siku hizi AI inakuwa ni kama coach.
Exactly.
So there is no, let me just say, we men, you have been socialized to not explore your emotional needs and your psychological needs. But I want to tell you that this is now a safe space in our season, in terms of where we are. We are in the season where it is okay to express how we feel. Right now, if you go on social media, Bramwell, there are so many programs for men's mental health.
Exactly.
I'm seeing them.
Yeah.
I know there is a group called Hopeful Minds, and I can see them on social, on IG. They are announcing a lot of activities for to support men's mental wellness.
Yeah.
Spaces where men can have conversations about being vulnerable, and that vulnerability is strength. It's not weakness. Okay. And so we want to encourage our men and to say, men, let's give you permission and train you how to express how you feel, even though you were not socialized to do that.
And talking about socialization,
yes,
it goes back to how we've been raised.
Yes.
And we've been, most of us have been raised with a belief that showing these emotions is a sign of weakness.
Yes.
I'm wondering, how does this belief affect marriages?
Now, so in marriages, and I will say that because I have experienced it in mine. So in marriages, how it looks like is that we have perceptions.
Okay.
We have perceptions that my man is very strong.
Yeah.
Because, he wakes up, he goes to work, he does all these things. He takes care of his family. He looks like he has everything under control.
Yeah.
Now, me, as a woman, I am so happy to be married by a person who is so responsible. But I am not tuning in to, or trying to figure out what would be his need. His need for support. What would that be? You see?
Yeah.
And some of that need is not that the man wants you to help him with the money. He may just be wanting you to do what I said. Validation. And affirm and cheerlead. Like you make sure that he feels that you care. When a man says, I feel alone in the marriage, what he is meaning is that I don't feel care. You see? Yeah. And so if I don't feel care, that means that he's not having conversations that are intimate with his wife. Now, we do know that there are men who have sexually detached from their women. And it's not because the man doesn't want sex. It's because the man is not feeling connected with her. You see, I have spoken to so many men who say, even when you have sex with your wife and you feel like it was just a physical thing, because she is not there.
Yeah.
And so because that's another need that a man has, is a man expresses his deep love and deep connection with his wife through sexual activity. We can debate that if people want to debate it, but it is the truth. That is a really, that's why when there is cheating in a relationship, usually it devastates. There is a sexual cheating in the relationship, it really devastates that relationship. Because for both men and women, the act of intercourse, it usually signifies a deep sense of connection. You see? Yeah. And so when it is, that's why even the biblical scriptures, they say that the marriage bed should be kept holy. You should be protected. And so when we allow ourselves to experience the going outside or bringing another third party into the relationship sexually, it devastates the ability, that freedom to feel safe within that relationship. So it's important for us to understand whether it is a man or a woman, our relationships really need they are going to be impacted a lot by what is happening with our mental health.
Yeah.
Because the moment there is interference with the safety within that relationship, we all go into self-preservation. And so I shut down, and we are two people who are just existing, but we are not connected. Okay. We may have the activities of being married, but emotionally, like the statement that you wrote or you read, the statement is, I feel alone. And when we feel alone, we cannot thrive.
Exactly.
We need community for us to thrive. Have you ever seen how people thrive when there is positive community?
Yeah.
And you see people just thrive. But when there is no community, and you see now a lot of, like I know in my church, they have a young couples ministry. These are people who are married below 10 years of marriage.
Yeah.
Whoa, you should see. They thrive because of this community.
Yes.
That we are together, and you can see they have a lot of fun and a lot of support for each other.
Yeah.
But you see in all that fun and support, they are also doing a lot of growth. How do we make our marriage last?
Okay.
You see?
And you see, talking about that kind of community, and I'm happy that we are also having, or in an era where a community of men, different communities of men are coming up to encourage each other positively, as opposed to the past, where we only knew chamas for women alone. Okay, women who are, because they are social, you see, and all that, they would find themselves into neat groups, encouraging each other. Like in men, you are always encouraged to meet at the table of men. And when you are meeting at the table of men, it is either talking about football, politics, and alcohol. Okay, I was watching a certain video just this morning while I was coming to work, and this young man is an advocate of High Court. He was narrating how he actually killed his own marriage. He says that the first 10 years, the energy was there, goodwill was there, thriving, doing things, okay? And he said that when the marriage moved into the 11th year, now he started meeting with men friends. And most of the men that he was meeting with, okay, having some good time together, most of them were his clients. And there is a saying, based on where he's coming from, that goes that men always meet where their money is coming from. Okay, he said it in his vernacular and then later on translated. Okay, so where does his money come from? From these men that is meeting. So these men that is meeting, he said every time they were there having some good time in the evening after work, what would happen? Every time the wife would call, text. So he was always busy on the phone. So the men started getting irritated. Told him, but the next time when you come, wacha simu kwa gari. Wacha simu wapi? Kwa gari. And he complied, by the way. The following day he came, aliacha simu kwa gari. So the wife would call, no picking. So ikifika 9 anataka kurudi nyuma. Akaambiwa bwana, when we are here we are brothers. Sisi ni mabro. Kufika nyumbani ni saa ngapi? Saa 6 ama saa 7 usiku kama watoto wamelala. Okay. He complied. The woman got tired. Okay? She stopped calling. She stopped following up what was happening. Atakikuja. So he started feeling emotional disconnection. Until one day when he drove home. And this time round, he came a little bit early. 11:30. Okay, PM. Alikuja mapema. Security akamuuliza, hey boss, kuna kitu umesahau? Okay? So the security jamaa akamwambia, no, wewe fungua acha maneno mengi. He didn't understand what the security was saying. Kwenda kwa nyumba, the house is empty. All his clothes and his handbags, whatever, mishipi ziko pale na maviatu. The wife carried everything and left. That is the reality. That men are going through.
Yes.
The emotional disconnection.
Yes.
Grace, able tell me, what are some of the signs of emotional disengagement that couples are experiencing out there?
Normally, you know, the thing is that a lot of times we are getting into spaces where even though we are meeting our survival needs,
Yes.
the disengagement is happening because we are not open to each other.
Okay.
So, and this is not something that is not that is not something that we haven't done. We do that a lot during. You see, like the way you are saying the story, 10 years, real great goodwill and connection, and then something happens in our lives. There will be many life experiences that will cause there to be a disconnect, a small one, and then it grows. You see, that is why for this particular story you have given, it is very important to understand your values, so that when you are creating community around you, that community does not erode the values that you hold dear to your heart.
Okay.
Because you see, for you to have a family and a marriage that is going to last a lifetime, you've got to keep the connection going. Because you see, you're going out here, and for 1 day or 2 days of the week, you go and you spend time with these people who take you away from your value system. And then this 1 or 2 days, it destroys the work you have built for 10 years.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So by the time somebody is married for 10 years, let's say if you got married your late 20s, so you are in your 40s.
Yeah.
And we know that there is a developmental stage in our 40s for both men and women that we call the midlife crisis. And the midlife crisis is where, this is where problems start, because during midlife crisis, that's when couples should come together. Because the children are now independent.
Okay.
So that is when we are supposed to naturally turn towards each other, because we don't have a lot of need for the children to be. I mean, our children don't have a greater need for us. Before they did, but now they are more independent. So what naturally should happen, that's why we call it the deepening stage of marriage, because we are supposed to turn towards each other. If that is the moment when you are having, instead of going, quote unquote, going back home, that's when you are going away from home, and it's the time you have a midlife crisis, guess what? You will forget to rebuild and to continue to build and deepen the very values that have kept you for 10 years.
Yeah.
I hope it makes sense. That the disconnect is going to happen because our values are being eroded by values that are coming outside of ourselves.
Exactly.
You see?
Meaning that in as far as I have my values, she has the values, we must build a system
Yes.
at the early stage
Yes.
of our marriage.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So that when such situations come, I need to
Yes.
come back to the system I have built,
Yes.
together with my spouse in our earlier stages of marriage.
Yes.
But most of the time, Grace, is we forget to build this baby called marriage, to work on it and put in it the right ingredients that will sustain after the passing of
the drama stage.
Exactly.
Now, this is the thing. You have said it so well that we must build systems. Now, let me say this. During your drama stage of marriage, why it's called drama is because those are the years of the teething problems.
Okay.
Unaona mtoto wa kitith, how they are cranky.
Yes.
So your relationship is experiencing a lot of crankiness. Why? Because developmentally, there are things you are working on. But most of us don't realize that.
Yeah.
We still want the honeymoon stage to stay. And usually your honeymoon stage of a relationship lasts between a year and 2 years.
Okay.
And then now you start the drama stage. It's not a bad stage, it's a necessary. You know the process of group formation, the norming. You see?
Norming, forming.
Yes, Sasa, nini, we have formed.
Yes.
And now, when we start to live together, we are norming.
Okay.
And the norming stage of a group is usually very chaotic.
All right.
You see what I'm saying?
I want you to hold that
Yes.
thought, Grace. We take a break for news.
Yes.
We will pick right from there and also look at the feedback from our listeners.
Yes.
All right, my dear listeners, 07 12223385 is the SMS line. Keep it Radio Mini 88.3 FM.
This is Radio.
You're tuned to Radio Walmini 88.3 FM. Radio Walmini, the Christian station with a difference.
Radio Waomini. Your radio.
Waumini News brought to you by Fanikisha. Every woman has a dream to grow, nurture, make a mark, and leave a legacy. Are you in farming or business? With Fanikisha, you can access loans from 100 to over 1 billion Kenya shillings, family insurance from 5,800 Kenya shillings yearly, LPO financing and more. SMS the word Fanikisha plus financial need to 24990 or visit any Equity branch. Fanikisha, empowering women, fueling prosperity through networking, entrepreneurship training and financial support. What's your dream? SMS the word Fanikisha plus financial need to 24990 or visit any Equity branch.
A Christian radio station with a difference. 88.3 FM.
Waumini Morning News.
Every Catholic has this simple question to answer. How am I participating in Christ's mission today? We need to revive our baptismal missionary conscience.
This is a time that we are being called to converse individually in our homes with our children.
We still do not have any reported confirmed Ebola virus disease case. We have a total of suspected Ebola virus disease samples that have been tested, which is 22, and all of them have turned negative.
In the news today.
9 suspects linked to the Utumishi Academy fire to know their fate Wednesday. Thousands kept away from Namugongo as Ebola Altars Matters Day commemorations. And US and Iran launch new strikes as ceasefire negotiations stalled. I trust you've had a productive morning so far. Thank you for staying tuned into Radio Mini 88.3 FM. My name is Violet Nyabonyi. 9 suspects linked to the Utumishi Academy fire that left 16 students dead spent another night in police custody as they await their fate on Wednesday. Naivasha Chief Magistrate Abdul Kadir Ramadan will make a ruling Wednesday afternoon on whether to release the suspects on cash bail or grant the prosecution a 30-day extension. The fire broke out in the early hours of Thursday, May 28th at the school's Melin Waithera dormitory, a 2-story structure. whose upper floor sustained extensive damage. In their statements, the girls reportedly told detectives that they were protesting a change in the examination calendar, the school's decision to charge them for a cultural event, and alleged peer influence after a neighboring boys' school went on strike.
Wow Mini News.
Health Cabinet Secretary Eden Duale is slated to brief the National Assembly plenary on Kenya's preparedness to manage the Ebola Bundibugyo virus and to clarify issues surrounding the proposed isolation center in Nanyuki, Laikipia County. Duale, alongside other senior Ministry of Health officials, will explain the reported agreement between Kenya and the U.S. regarding the quarantining of Americans exposed to the Ebola virus. Hundreds of residents in Nanyuki on Monday staged a protest against the proposed establishment of an Ebola quarantine and isolation facility at Laikipia Air Base.
Guys, go take your people. Hamwezi kuwa mnasema wa Amerika hamwataki and they are your citizen, nyinyi mtuletee disease. We are very aware of what Ebola caused in Sierra Leone in 2016 and 2015.
If anything, even if Americans are giving you 1.7 billion, it is not equivalent to the thousands of people who are residents and taxpayers of Laikipia and Nanyuki. We have children inside these military camps. We have workers, civil servants, even police officers. Their life too matters.
In the same breath, the government has identified 12 counties as being at very high risk of an Ebola outbreak as Kenya intensifies efforts to keep the deadly virus out of the country. The very high-risk counties are Nairobi, Mombasa, Uasin Gishu, Busia, Kisumu, Bungoma, Trans Nzoia, Siaya, West Pokot, Turkana, Homa Bay, and Migori. The high-risk counties include Vihiga, Kakamega, Nakuru, Kericho, Nandi, Kiambu, Machakos, Makueni, Kilifi, Taita Taveta, Isiolo, Elgeyo Marakwet, and Garissa. Public Health Principal Secretary Mary Modoni says no Ebola case has been confirmed in the country so far, although 22 suspected cases have undergone testing. Authorities have heightened surveillance at border entry points even as Uganda's Ebola caseload rises to 15 following the confirmation of 6 new infections.
Confirmed Ebola virus disease case. We have a total of suspected Ebola virus disease samples that have been tested, which is 22 as at this morning, and all of them have turned negative.
Wow Mini News.
Across our borders, preparations for this year's Uganda Matters Day celebrations at Namugongo have been finalized, but the event will look very different from previous years. Organizers have reduced attendance and scaled down activities in line with Ebola prevention measures, with the famous Matters Day choir cut from 600 members to just 30 singers.
We have decided to decentralize the national prayer celebrations. Only for tomorrow, we are going to be here at Namugongo. We invited only 200 people, according to our discussion and clearance from the Ministry of Health.
Those who are coming should not worry. We are going to keep the social distancing and to make sure that the service is conducted within the time allocated.
Uganda's Catholic bishops had encouraged Christians to commemorate Uganda Matters Day from their respective parishes after the government cancelled this year's celebrations at Namugongo Shrine due to Ebola concerns. Authorities say the decision was taken as a precautionary measure to help prevent the spread of the disease. Uganda Matters Day is one of the largest annual Christian gatherings on the continent, attracting hundreds of thousands to several million pilgrims and visitors from Uganda and across East and Central Africa and beyond. It is observed annually on June 3rd to commemorate the 45 Christian converts, 22 Catholic and 23 Anglican, executed between 1885 and 1897 on the orders of Kabaka Mwanga II.
Wow Mini News.
Elsewhere, the U.S. military says it has launched self-defense strikes on Iran and shot down ballistic missiles and drones fired at ships and Gulf countries. The strikes on Keshm Island in the Strait of Hormuz were in response to attempted attacks by Iran across the Middle East. Iran says it had attacked U.S. bases and helicopters in a regional country using missiles and drones in retaliation. The U.S. Central Command says Tehran had fired 2 missiles at Kuwait and 3 at Bahrain, all of which broke apart or were intercepted. The latest attacks come amid stalled ceasefire negotiations after talks on a deal to end the months-long war failed to advance over the weekend.
Wow Mini News.
On to the sporting world. Democratic Republic of Congo's international friendly against Chile in Spain next week has been cancelled after authorities raised health concerns over the Ebola outbreak in the African nation. Juan Franco, the mayor of the city, has signed a decree which prevents the fixture from going on ahead on the 9th of June as planned. DR Congo are scheduled to face Denmark in a friendly in Liege, Belgium on Wednesday. Be sure to join Stakas Haron at 10 for more news updates. My name is Violet Nyabonyi.
Radio Wow Me updates you fast. The Catholic Radio for All.
This is the financial news on Radio Wow Mini.
Good morning and a warm welcome to this broadcast. The sugarcane farmers and transporters are set to benefit from a major tax shift in the proposed finance bill year 2026, which aims to reduce transport costs within the sector. The reforms are being hailed as a significant win for farmers, with the government moving to lower operational costs that have long eaten into profits into the sugar industry. Under the proposed changes, selected supplies will be shifted from the zero-rated value-added tax status to VAT exempt status, and this includes sugarcane transport services, which will now be fully exempted from VAT. Meanwhile, the Kenyan government is working on mechanisms to establish a welfare fund for Kenyan diaspora. Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi has outlined that the fund will be directed towards providing social security, emergency relief, and repatriation assistance for Kenyan citizens living abroad. He said this will go alongside the ongoing plans to establish a diaspora bond framework which seeks to mobilize savings from Kenyans living abroad for investment in national development projects. In other financial news making headlines this Wednesday morning, the Kenya Revenue Authority is in the process of procuring 72 additional cargo scanners in its quest to strengthen tax compliance, enhance border security, and improve cargo clearance at the port of Mombasa and other entry and exit points across the country. The new scanners will complement KRA's existing network of 33 serviceable scanners deployed at border stations, airports and ports. The current fleet includes fixed and railway scanners and palletized units, as well as baggage scanners. KRA's manager for customs, warehouse customs and border controls Southern Region, Tabitha Wanyama, said the technology has significantly improved cargo inspection and efficiency. In conclusion, dear listener, the US dollar is trading at 129 shillings and 60 cents. And those are the financial news making headlines as at this hour. I am Christopher Akwenda. Have a good morning and a productive new month ahead.
That has been the financial news.
This is Radio Wow Mini.
This is the Bible as it is.
book of 2 Chronicles chapter 12. The following men came to David in Ziklag while he was still under banishment from Saul, son of Kish. They too were among the warriors who helped him in his battles. They were archers who could use either the right or the left hand, both in slinging stones and in shooting arrows with the bow. There were some of the Saul's kinsmen from Benjamin. Ahiezer was the chief, along with Joash, both sons of Shema of Gibeah, also Jezreel and Pelet, sons of Azmaveth, Beraka Jehu from Anathoth, Ishmaiah the Gibeonite, a warrior on the level of the 30, and in addition to their number, Jeremiah, Jaziel, Johanan, Jozabad from Gedera, Eluzai, Jerimoth, Beliah, Sheremiah, Shephatiah, the Haruphite, Elkanah, Ishia, Azarel, Jezer, and Ishbal were Korite, Joelah finally, and Zebadiah, sons of Jeroham from Gedor.
The reading from the Bible as it is written was taken from the African Bible.
The Catholic Radio for All.
88.3 FM.
Tonight, somewhere in Kibera, a young child is going to sleep hungry, not because they have no dreams, but because no one has had the chance to stand with them. They dream of school, they dream of becoming a teacher, a journalist, a doctor, but poverty has a way of silencing even the brightest dreams. And that is why at Wanawake kwa Wanawake Kenya, we refuse to let those beautiful dreams die. Through education sponsorship, ICT and skills training for youth, literacy programs for women, and economic empowerment initiatives, we are not just helping, we are rebuilding lives. This August 14th, we will gather at the Royal Nairobi Golf Club for a charity golf tournament. But you don't have to be there to be part of this miracle. With from just as little as 100 shillings, yes, just 100 shillings, you can put a child back in school. You can give a young person a skill. You can restore dignity to a mother. You may never meet her, but one day she will stand strong because you chose to care. Central contribution now, pay bill number 542542, account number 221410, or call us today on 0770461263 for more information. Don't wait, because someone's future is waiting on you. Truly, I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. Matthew chapter 25, verse 40. Wanawake kwa Wanawake Kenya, changing lives one act of love at a time.
Waumini FM, home of carefully selected music to suit the whole family.
Live by design with Grace Karaoke.
I choose peace over everything, over the money, over the bling, over the drama, over the fame. Mdomoni ponza kichwa, chunga sana kinywa chako, usinene mabaya, usinene mabaya. Baraka kuzunguka wewe. Ukimtupa mwenzio kwenye kivuli, kesho mwanga utakukosa tena. Ukicheka machozi ya jirani, ukilia nani atabaki? Kile unachokisema kwa hasira kinarudi moyoni, kinapunguza pole pole. Wewe sema pema, ukisema sema kwa upendo.
Ukisema sema kwa upendo on Radio Mini 88.3 FM, the Catholic radio station for all. On Radio Wow Mini 88.3 FM, my dear listener, welcome to the final hour on Radio Mini 88.3 FM. Good morning, Bram. Online tuned, happy Wednesday to all listeners. Susan all the way from Dubai. Thank you so much, Susan. Asante sana. Thank you so much. Weekly from Kasarani and Kevin from Embakasi. I'll be getting back to your questions in a minute, all right? But in the meantime, if you are a woman in business, you better be excited because Equity is here. Remember, at Equity, they understand that every woman's dream is a journey filled with ambitions, challenges, and endless possibilities. And Fanikisha comes with a basket of solutions designed to support women in business to build, to grow, and to thrive by offering you both financial and non-financial solutions that sit you at every stage of your growth. What am I talking about here? You can get a business loan. Imagine the power to access unsecured loans of up to 250 million Kenya shillings and other business loans that grow with you from as low as 100 Kenya shillings to 1 billion Kenya shillings and even above 1 billion Kenya shillings. This enables you to grow your business to an empire. Think about mobile loans and credit cards. Yes, you can also access mobile loans of up to 3 million Kenya shillings and credit card limit of up to 3 million Kenya shillings, ensuring you always have access to cash when you need it the most. And Fanikisha is further designed to offer solutions that simplify your life and business operations. Talk of premium cards. With the premium debit card, you get access to a world of amazing benefits such as airport lounge access, air travel privileges, hotel discounts, and lifestyle and shopping offers, both locally and globally. Talk of convenience when it comes to collecting payments. With Equity Till and Equity POS solutions, collecting payments becomes seamless, helping your business run smoothly every single day. And talk of internet banking solutions. Yes, with Equity Online for business banking, you have access to your account any day and any time. But even beyond finances, Fanikisha invests in personal growth. Through entrepreneurship training, mentorship opportunities, they equip you with knowledge and connect you to other women to further grow your business opportunities. So whether you are starting, scaling, or securing your legacy, Fanikisha is designed for you. The question is, are you a woman in business? Whether you bank with Equity or not, start your Fanikisha journey today. Fanikisha, empowering women. And today on the program, we are talking about men. Why so many men are struggling alone. All right, 0712223385 is the SMS line, or on Facebook page, Radio Mini 88.3 FM. Grace, you see, in as far as we are talking about men, yes, there are several issues that are now coming up. Listen to this question here from Wycliffe. Says, hi, Bram and Grace. I'm Wycliffe from Kasarani. Thank you for thinking about men today because many times we are expected to be strong for everyone else while nobody asks whether we are okay. Grace, my question is this. If a man spends years suppressing his emotions because he was taught that vulnerability is weakness, how can he begin opening up to his wife when even he no longer understands what he is feeling? And what role can a wife play without making him feel judged, interrogated, or inadequate?
Yes.
Hapo sana sana kwa interrogation.
The people who interrogate are called cholerics. So, unajua, you know, I really appreciate Wycliffe's answer. That's Wycliffe, eh?
Yes.
I appreciate his question. It's so important. And this is now the question of where do I begin?
Okay.
Because, and first of all, what he has done, the very first thing we do when we want to change something is to acknowledge.
Okay.
And so he has already acknowledged for many, many men and that I was socialized, I was conditioned not to express my emotions.
Yeah.
Now, so when we acknowledge that, the next step is to ask the how. And that's what he is asking. The how is actually what we call training in emotional intelligence.
Okay.
So the language of expressing how I am feeling is where you begin. And that language is what now we call self-awareness.
Okay.
So in self-awareness, when we are talking about emotional intelligence, we are saying you name what you are feeling. Now, naming what you are feeling is not easy for us Africans, because we only know how to name probably 3 emotions. Guess which ones?
Anger. I'm happy.
And happy.
I'm sad.
And sad, you see. Nimekasirika, nimeudhika, nimeboeka.
Yes.
You see. And those are very, they are very, it's what we call umbrella emotions.
Right.
Because then nikisema nimeboeka, it means what? Usually, kuboeka ni kusema I'm frustrated.
Okay.
So what am I frustrated about? So you identify what you are feeling, because anger is anger, kuboeka, those kinds of things, nimeudhika, those are usually secondary. So there is a feeling that you have before you express the anger, kuboeka, and kukasirika.
Yeah.
That feeling is what I usually put them in 5 categories. It is I'm feeling a loss of something, and therefore I'm grieving. So I came into the marriage, we started very well, you used to connect with me, I used to feel very safe, I could tell you anything, you didn't judge me, you didn't criticize me, you didn't compare me with anybody, and then suddenly things changed. So even somebody who has not been socialized to express their feelings, usually in the honeymoon stage of the relationship, we express a lot of feelings. Every time I'm with you, I feel so at home. I feel free. I feel good. You say, I love you. You are actually God's answer to my prayers. Those are my expressing feelings.
Yeah.
Until we get to the point where the conflict stage of the relationship comes. So we stop expressing feelings and we start acting them out. Because that's what we were socialized to do.
Yeah.
When you're angry, you just express anger. But again, let's hear this. When you have a negative emotion, we normally express anger, kukasirika, kuboeka, evil. But we do not express that when you did that, I felt a loss. There is something I lost. And the loss is usually expectation, because I have an expectation of what you should be to me.
Exactly.
Number 2, we feel what we call abandonment and rejection. So the expectation that you will always understand me, you will be interested and curious about who I am and why I am the way I am, I lose that. So what do? I feel abandoned, because now I'm not experiencing your goodwill.
Yeah.
I'm experiencing you judging me and using the information that I give you against me. So I am losing a feeling of safety. So I feel alone. Number 3, there is what we call sadness or hurt, H-U-R-T. There is something, the words that you use, the tone you use, is causing me to feel hurt. So I'm not experiencing hurt, I'm experiencing anger.
Yeah.
And so when I experience anger and I express the anger, which will be, I either withhold things like conversation, presence, or I am going to be aggressive. So I will use harsh words, or I am going to hit something, or I am going to complain and criticize and judge. You see? So that is me expressing that I'm hurt. But I'm not using the word hurt. I am expressing, I am so angry with you. You are my enemy right now. And then number 4, there is what we call betrayal. And betrayal is where you stab somebody from the back. They were not expecting it. And what you have done, you have pulled the carpet from under their feet. Now they are wondering, who are you? They wamesambaratika, they cannot define who you are, because their expectation of you was not what you have just done. Because what you have done has taken away a feeling of I'm safe in the world. And now you have devastated their experience of you and him, or you and her. And now what they are also going to express is, again, the fight, flight, freeze, or collapse. a lot of crying, a lot of anger, and expressing a lot of pain because of the betrayal. You see? And then we have what we call disappointment. So those are what I call the basic emotions that we experience in a relationship, whether we are children with our parents or whether we are couples. You see? And even with friendships, any kind of relationship, even relationships at work. You see? So the expression, which is the behavior, so we feel we feel those emotions and then we express them through anger, but there is also what we call a behavior, which is going to be coping mechanisms. So for me to gain back control, because that's what I lose, what I am going to do, I'm going to act a certain way. So either I internalize and therefore I do escapism, suppression, or I am going to be aggressive towards the person who has taken away the feeling of safety, that those 5 emotions that I've talked about, they are all taking away a feeling I'm safe with you. So when Wycliffe says, how do I start to open up to my wife without the fear of retaliation? And this is now where the last 2 Wednesdays we talked about vulnerability within the marriage. And so now the individual who is already afraid, there are 2 things they need to identify. Number 1 is the conditioning. What was it actually that used to happen when you would try? Because children will always try to express. And then by the time they are age 10, 12, they learn that this expression of how I feel is not going well. I'm either getting humiliated, mocked, dismissed, invalidated, or punished. You see? So what does a child learn? That I need to pull away. And I have worked with a lot of people who are choleric, melancholic, but because their choleric nature, which is very outgoing, very extroverted, goal-directed, very expressive, because of punishment, whenever they would express, what they did, they reverted now to grow their melancholic trait. So those people, you will see them when they are not with their family of origin. They are very social. When they get into a relationship, whether it is a friendship or it is a romantic relationship, they are very tentative because love is not safe. You see? So when I say emotional intelligence and self-awareness, we are talking about what are the emotions that you used to suppress when you were growing up and you were not allowed to express. Now here, Bramwell, we are not demonizing our parents or how we were raised. No, we are being honest by acknowledging that this experience caused me not to be able to express some things within my intimate relationship without fearing. So there is that, the conditioning, the ecosystem I grew up in, plus now as an adult, how that has impacted my self-confidence when it comes to emotional expression. Now, how do you start? I want to encourage any man who is experiencing that kind of they want to, but then they are afraid to. So you want to start by self-training. So you know the whole thing of writing down how you are feeling. Now, you don't have to write if you don't want to. These days we have the gadgets. You can do a voice note to yourself. And do this every day. Allow yourself to express, to explore, what am I feeling? You don't have to start by expressing to the person. First of all, create your own confidence within yourself. Express to you. Sijui kama hiyo inaeleweka. You see?
Create your own WhatsApp group. Be the admin.
And start saying, and every day, do a conversation with yourself. Today, this is what happened, and this is how I'm feeling. And the reason why I'm feeling this way is X, Y, Z. And this reminds me when. So now you are connecting to the past, how the past has impacted who you are today. So that you say to yourself, but really my authentic self, this is what I would like to do. But I am afraid to do it. Me, I'm a flag. I struggle a lot also with expressing honestly, authentically in my intimate relationships. Not just my marriage, but with my children, because of the way I'm wired. So the skill that I consistently work on and practice is to ask myself, so why are you afraid to express? What are you predicting is going to happen if you say? And then I allow myself to say, well, they won't listen, they will be misunderstood. They won't. So I tell myself, but what is your goal? And I say to myself, my goal is not for them to agree with me, because I can't control that. My goal is for me to tell them how I feel without disrespecting their space and without the fear of retaliation. So, yes, is there going to be retaliation? Probably, and that retaliation for me will be either I will feel dismissed, invalidated, or misunderstood. So what I want to do is to work on, that's why I'm saying it's a skill set, to work on me being comfortable with expressing how I feel without expecting anything in return. That's where I need to start, so that my system can get used to saying, I feel a loss of respect today. And then I say to myself, so why do you feel a loss of respect today? Oh, because Wamboi did X, Y, Z. And what would you have wanted Wamboi to do? And then you say to yourself, I would have wanted for her to let me finish what I was saying, because when she interrupted me, I pulled away. So what would you have wanted to do instead of pulling away? I wish that I had told her, no, I need you to let me finish what I'm saying. Or when they finish, if they can't stop, I needed to be able to say, all right, going back to what I was saying, and please listen until I finish. Would you do that for me? So that is me self-advocating, instead of shutting down and going back to the old me. You see? So that is the process of starting. You cannot go into enemy camp just because you feel like you can go, you have the courage to go without having the armor that needs to protect you from the arrows, so that you don't retreat. You see? So it's like what Jesus said, can anybody go to war unless they count the cost first? And so that is what I'm saying. Start with you. Most of the times, the reason why personal development and personal authenticity doesn't happen is because we start with the other person.
It is true, and that is the biggest problem that we are having, right? We are always ready to look at the other person, pointing fingers, forgetting that when you're pointing one at them, all the three are looking at me. Grace, as you're talking about that, I am looking at men like Wycliffe, men who have the knowledge, men who have exposed themselves, men who are intentional on their personal growth to make their marriages better. When you look at the marriages of our parents, the need ilikuwa ni chakula, nguo, mahali pa kukaa, that is what they focused on most of the time. Look at that and look at our marriages like in Bramwell today. What is the biggest need kwa ndoa za kina Bramwell today?
So, it is important to think about, and I think we have talked about the Maslow's hierarchy of human needs. So, everyone who is listening to us, probably 90% of people listening to us, they've already met their first two needs of the human hierarchy of needs. So which is shelter, safety, food, and education, and community. So we are okay when it comes to that. So we are not living in dire need for survival. We are living in dire need for emotional connection. So the third tier of the human needs is connection in terms of family, love, and belonging. You see, when you are on the lower levels of human needs, you're not thinking about belonging. You are thinking about food and shelter and safety. You see? But when you have that, Then now you go to tier number 3. And tier number 3 is about relationships. It's about belonging and emotional safety. So that is where your marriage is. Everybody who is listening to me today, that is where your marriage is. That's what, even if you started off, kuna wale walianza kwa kale kanyumba ka mabati. And with a mattress on the floor.
Yes.
So when your marriage started, you were in the lower levels of human need. And you used to count the coins. Munaenda hapo kwa kioski, you buy whatever you need for that day, every day. So you were really, and then you started to grow until you met all those other 2 levels of needs. And now your marriage is actually on level 3. So your biggest need is to connect emotionally. It is to connect belonging-wise, so that there is no loneliness. Now, there are a lot of couples who say, my spouse is more concerned with the children. I don't think they care about me. Na unajua ninakuanga na hii conversation, ninasemanga, you know, you are not a blood relative to your spouse. But your children are
for
and
sure.
your spouse is not your blood relative. But your children are your blood relative.
Exactly.
So sometimes it's good to look at that reality. And so now that means to be able to have goodwill and emotional intelligence in the marriage relationship, you have to be intentional. You don't have to be intentional with your children. You're connected anyway. You see, but with your spouse, you have to work on it to develop. This is an artificial connection and belonging. That's why I usually tell couples, wakati mumeanza kugorofishana na mnasema ati mnataka kuachana, remember you will go back to your mother, and you will go back to your father. Where will your children go? Because you see, your wife and yourself, your husband and yourself are the ones who have created a home for these kids.
Yes.
When you separate, you can go back to your family of origin. And then they can go back to their family of origin. What your children, your family of origin, yao ni gani? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it is good for us to also think about developing these skills of relationship building for the sake of the generation that we are raising. Kwa sababu you see us, we are grown-ups. Our children's family of origin is going to be dependent on me and you who decided and made the choice to be together. So when we talk about men's mental health, we are saying, can we support the men to be mentally and psychologically well so that they can show up in their marriages in a wellness space, rather than coming in defense mode or aggressive mode or shutdown mode. Yeah.
And I like the way you've actually explained. And now, umeniacha hapa mahali pa love is not safe.
Yes.
Okay? We have people who actually,
Yes.
based on the way they have been brought up, hapo ndio wako, love is no longer safe.
Yes.
Let me go back to the background, the upbringing,
Yes.
Grace. When a woman looks at the background of where the husband is coming from, or that young man that they're just about to get married to comes from, interrogates the background thoroughly, can she be able to get some of the telltale signs that some of the things that they might start battling in the marriages? Is there that possibility?
There is a possibility, especially if you can take some time to understand yourself. You cannot understand another human being. The best way to understand other people is to understand yourself. Start with you.
Sure.
So that now when I look at my dad, my dad died at 83. He really lived a long life.
Yeah.
My mother is 86 right now. One of the things that I regret is that even though my father left the family, one of the things that now, because of training and because of life experience that I know, is that my father was one of the men who felt very alone. You see, because he was rejected by his own father. You know, those family issues where your mother is sent away, and then, you know, as a young man, you are brought up by uncles. You don't feel a sense of belonging. You see, so when my father decided to get married, what is he looking for? Is to create a family for himself, because he didn't have one. So one of it is natural, the natural progression of the life cycle. You know, that we get born, we do what, we get to age and we get married and we create children. You see, that's natural. However, there is the emotional and psychological need for belonging, for creating a space where I belong. So there is an expectation that this woman that I am going to marry, she is going to provide for me an opportunity to create the family I didn't have. I want to be better than my father. So when the two people come together and the woman comes and finds this man, and that is her, she's also coming with her baggage. Now, you can be able to actually look at that man and ask, this history that I have gotten from this man that I'm going to marry, how will it play out in our relationship? What is his inner child going to need from me?
Good.
What is my inner child going to need from him? Now, young people, especially those who are in their 20s and 30s, and you are looking for a spouse, please invest in your 12 sessions of what we call brief solution-focused therapy. And that is why I have 12 sessions myself of self-awareness, clarity, and insight, in order for you to live by design, to design the kind of life you want. So you know, when I was in my late teens into my early 20s, I realized that I was looking for you know, that space of starting to date and to be interested in boys. I realized that the two boys I was interested in, they were unavailable, or they were not committed like me. So they have me and then they have somebody else. And it was very telling for me. That's why at 20, I decided I'm not going to date until I'm ready for marriage, because it was emotionally very draining for me. Why? Now I know why. It's because I was looking for a sense of belonging. I was looking for somebody who I'm going to belong with. Because in my family of origin, I didn't feel that I was belonging with.
Exactly. I wanted us to connect back to that.
Yes. You see, so my desire, and later on, years and years later, when I met my husband, I remember him saying, and both of us were in our 40s, so I remember him saying, you know, people don't marry just for love. Love is supposed to connect you, but there are other needs we have that cause us to seek for a spouse. And those needs are the needs that now, when we get married, is what we call unspoken expectations. You see what I'm saying? So there is a need for all of us to do what you have said. Ask the question, now that I know about where you come from, I need to ask myself, so what? So there are people who come from families where walidekezwa sana, so they could never do anything wrong. Maybe they were very bright and there was this expectation that they are perfect. They are going to look in a relationship, they are going to want to have control because they believe that they are perfect. And so you who comes into the relationship, you need to align with them because they are perfect. You see what I'm saying? So it can translate into what now we call control, where they don't think they do anything wrong, but they think that you keep doing the wrong thing because they were the heroes in their family of origin, you see. So then you have this, you have somebody who was the person who was forgotten in the family. We have talked a lot about the forgotten child. The birth order within the family and what that looks like, and the roles we take within our family of origin. So if you marry somebody who is the forgotten child, their need for belonging is going to be very high. If you marry the person who is the firstborn child who was parentified very early, you will find them to be very dismissive and avoidant.
Yeah.
Why? Because they really they don't trust people that way to be vulnerable and to be open. They believe that wao ndio kujua. And so what you will find, there is also a lot of control, but then when there is clinginess, where emotional connection is needed and needed to be consistent, they pull away.
Yeah.
And that is why we call them dismissive avoidant. And then the fearful avoidant is your person who is a choleric melancholic, but was also probably socialized to be the parentified child in the family. And so wao pia ndio kusema, they look for problems, and then when they find the problems, they kind of aggressive to fix the problem. But then when you are not joining them to fix the problem, they abandon you. So love for them, I don't trust myself, neither do I trust anybody else. So I reach out to you for us to fix a problem, and you, the way I come, I am so aggressive and I have a lot of energy around it, and you feel overwhelmed by my need. And so what do? You refuse to. You feel you go into self-preservation. The moment you go into self-preservation, then I feel abandoned. And what do? I also pull away, but I pull away very aggressively. So I might give you silent treatment for 2 days, 3 days. Ile silent treatment, ile ngumu, ile ya mawe.
You see, Grace, now, what I'm hearing is that, si eti kwamba sisi ni wabaya.
No,
Not that our marriages are bad.
No, it's skill.
The skill.
The skill set, understanding, and that's why, a few months ago I did a couple of classes on the nervous system.
Yeah.
How your nervous system goes into fight, flight, freeze, or collapse. And when you experience that, then naturally you pull away from your intimate relationships. And you go into self-preservation. And so what happens is that the relationship is going to experience a lot of pain right there. So when we are talking about understanding self, so if you want to understand the person you are married to, try to understand you and how your ecosystem where you were raised and your life experience, it affected and changed you. So that you can start also to be curious about your partner. What about them? What do I know about them? So that now we don't do the whole thing of judging each other, criticizing each other, but instead we are trying to find inroads to bridge the gaps.
Talking about judging, listen to this question. Hi, Bram and Grace. Kevin, thank you for this important conversation. Grace, many men are silently carrying financial burdens, family expectations, and fear about the future. When a man loses his job, his business fails, or he can no longer provide the way he used to, his identity often takes a huge blow. How can a marriage survive when a man feels he has failed in his primary role as a provider?
Now, I will answer that question in 2 ways. Number one, losing a job, losing a source of income for a man is not a failure. So let's correct that first. It's not a failure, it's a season. And every one of us goes through those seasons. So the man's mental health needs to change the narrative. You have not failed. You are going through a rough patch. You see, because failure means you are not able and you have refused to assert yourself. You see, so we want to start by changing the narrative that men who lose their jobs, they are not failures. It feels like a failure, but it is not a failure. It is something that has happened because of circumstances that are beyond your control. You see, so it's a season of job loss. You see, so let's not say I am a failure. No, because that is intra-communication. Before the communication comes from outside, there is the communication you have with yourself. So change that narrative and practice self-compassion and remind yourself, Bramwell, you are not a failure. You just lost a job. And Bramwell, it may take you a few months before you get another job.
Yeah.
You are still not a failure. Failure is when we fall down and we stay down.
Yeah.
That's what it is. But failure or the loss of a job, as we are talking, so the loss of a job has many meanings. So the grief process. So what am I grieving? What have I lost? So I have lost, and list down your losses. So first of all, I have lost my feeling of worth, because now I can't wake up and go to the job. Number two, I have lost some sort of dignity. Depending on why you have been late, you have lost the job. But then there is also the practical needs. So I have lost income, and therefore my family is going to struggle. So the fear of the unknown. It is very good to map out what is going on, so you stop saying you are a failure, because you are not. Then number two, what you want to do is also to, this is so important, for better, for worse, in riches and poverty, in sickness and in health. Many of us who went through the church wedding, we went to the AG's office. You know, we recite these things, but what do they really mean? And we make these vows. You see?
Yeah.
So when we say for better, for worse, couples, listen to me. For better, for worse does not mean that when you are in your worst, I join you there. So I'm a wife, my husband loses a job. So what do? I start to kick him. Why are you, and I start to complain.
Yeah.
And to kind of kick the dead horse. What I want to do as the wife is to actually use words of validation and affirmation to help my husband to stay without going into real depression by the way I am talking through what he is going through. So there is something that I keep telling couples and my clients, is that before you decide what your spouse needs, ask them, how can I can see this is very difficult for you. How can I support you?
Okay, very important.
You see? And you, man, when you hear how can you be supported, don't say I don't know. Don't tell them just be there for me. Actually tell them, let me think about it, and I will give you, because what your wife is saying, let's problem solve through this.
Okay.
You see? So allow yourself to sit down and say, enyewe, what behavioral things can my wife do to support me through this period? You see, a lot of times what has happened, by the time you are losing a job, you've already developed a self ni mimi. You see?
Yeah.
We are not moving, we are not looking back and saying, by the way, suppose, let's talk about, we said for better, for worse, what would be the worst? Let's list down. And when that worst happens, how will we support each other? So that is a conversation that is needed to be had. And usually, even as I'm saying it right now, I have been saying to myself, I need to create a training for couples who are preparing to get married, where I call it, what does it mean for better, for worse? What does that look like in marriage? And one of the things I know is that you don't want to be worse together. One of you who is worse, the other one hold the fort. So that now the process of going through the worst, you are doing it together. So your husband is able to come and say, Han, today I have woken up with a feeling of such panic about the future, because it's been 3 months. Nasipati job. You see, and you as the wife, you validate and affirm that. You attune, you emotionally tune into that and say, honey, I know, I can imagine. It must be so hard for you. You see, that is very simple, but people think that that is not helpful.
Exactly. And you're putting it so rightfully, Grace, how I wish people could understand this, because that is also a very devastating moment.
Yes.
All right? And sometimes she may not say it.
Yes.
But actions.
Yeah, yeah.
ulikuwa unatoka job unakuja unapata kila kitu kimeandaliwa. Right now ni wewe kujisort. Ukijaribu kufungua mdomo, si ulishinda kwa hii nyumba.
Unaona, yeah, you see.
Or sometimes ulikuwa unaitwa hard, sijui darling, this time round unaitwa kwa jina.
Unaitwa baba. Yes.
Anyway, Grace, as we are winding up, how can, now that being a mental awareness month, how can men who are intentional about themselves, about their mental wellness, can get in touch with you? And also couples who are listening to you, how can they get in touch with you as well?
Yeah, you can reach out via WhatsApp, 0797 490 404, 0797 490 404. You can also follow me on social media, GK Nderito at IG, GK Nderito IG. Live by Design with Grace Kariuki is my YouTube channel. I have so much content there. And TikTok, Therapist Grace Kariuki, you will find me there as well as on Facebook.
Yeah.
If you are a man and you are struggling with how do I begin the process of really taking care of my mental wellness, psychological health, in this month of June, I'm going to give you 6 sessions. If you can reach out to that number and say you are interested in 6 sessions of the discounted rate for men for this month. Okay. And then what I'm going to do a few, I will try to do each week, I will try to do a free Zoom session for the listeners who are listening to us and their friends on mental health for men. Okay. And we will do that. So anybody can join, including the women who love the men.
I like that.
and the women who are raising boys.
Yeah.
It is important for us to understand men's mental health. And for today, my parting shot would be this. Emotional intelligence for men is the empowerment space we need to go in. Wow. The boy child needs to be, we need to remove the stigma that men don't cry.
Yeah.
Men must be strong. If sasa wewe ukilia, wengine watafanya nini? We are not talking about tears per se. We are actually talking about, can men express when they are bleeding? Do we have the capacity to hold space for them? And we want to do that. A lot of times I am finding women who are bringing their men to couples therapy, and I'm listening to the men, and I'm hearing a lot of pain in terms of they were not nurtured by their mothers, neither are they being nurtured in their relationship. So they are hearing, you see, men who are phlegmatic and sanguine, they tend to be attracted to women who are choleric.
Yeah.
And the choleric woman is all about goal direction and fixing. So they like that, but you see, it becomes for them, it eventually becomes judgmental, critical, and comparison.
All right. So thank you so much, Grace,
You are
for
welcome.
your time and the insights this morning.
Yes.
Looking forward to having you again next week, God willing.
Thank you.
All right, my dear listener, get in touch with Grace. Book that session, 0797 490 404 is the number. Monica Kariuki, I see you all the way from St. Stephen's Udhiro. Asante sana. Thank you so much, my dear listener, for your time. Let's do this again tomorrow, God willing. Have a productive Wednesday.
Invitation to the plenary by Archbishop Muheria, the Vice Chairman of the Kenya Conference of Catholic Bishops, KCCB, and Vice Chair of AMESEA, the Most Reverend Archbishop Anthony Muheria, invites you to the upcoming 21st AMESEA Plenary Assembly in July in Nairobi. The one-week plenary shall begin on the 19th of July to the 26th at the Catholic University of Eastern Africa, Kwea. This year's plenary, according to Archbishop Muheria, shall focus on young people. According to the Archbishop, the plenary shall work together with young people, listen to their concerns and worries, understand their realities and aspirations, protect and defend them, empower them to flourish, and help them grow as leaders. More than 130 bishops are expected to attend alongside other members of the clergy and church leaders across the Eastern Africa. All Catholic radios shall stream live Mass from choir, while Captain TV shall air the plenary live. Be sure to catch us. Archbishop Muheria counts on all the youth as he recognizes them as the hope of the church. This year's theme is A Messiah's Synodal Journey with Young People, building bridges of communion, hope, justice, and good governance.